of what do you want? What have you planned? Because only then can you really find what he has for you, really just trusting him with your life and your future, and getting young girls to do that as well. And that's a whole other topic there. Because I wondered about talking about difficult childbirths and things like that I'm sharing with you. That's, hearing that frightens, and our daughters and our young daughters they're not deaf, parents, mothers, you talk on the phone and you're talking about it. Do you know, and I would love to ask you a question, but I don't remember my mother ever telling me about the difficulties in her birth or pain or anything. And people would say, oh, that's, irresponsible, or you should talk. But I didn't go into it with any fear whatsoever. And I also had several, I'm the 6 out of 7. So I had my sister and sister-in-laws all having babies. And I never remember them ever, causing me to fear about childbirth. So I was very blessed in that. How I got around that, I have no idea. Of course, it was the time too. But I do know it's very prevalent to talk about that. And that also is something that's going to deter or even grandparents who don't want to have a lot of children. That's a whole other, grandchildren that we ran into that with the grandmother on the other side, not my mother. Of course, my mother was delighted, with every baby that ever lived, she loved it. And I'm the same way. So anyway, did you have that where?
Well, in my case, my mom had 6 kids, and, it was this, she didn't really go into details about when she gave birth, but she did let us know when she had, I've got 3 younger brothers. My one younger brother is late. He died quite young, but she did tell us that she did have some troubles with, she did have a bit of complications with my one brother's birth, but I didn't have, praise God.
You didn't have that. So that's good. And I remembered you about the poverty mentality, but I didn't know. And so you're one of the oldest then, or one of the older ones?
Well, I'm the middle girl. So it's 2 older sisters and then 3 younger brothers. But I'm just thankful to my husband because I did give him my heart when I got married. So for me, I didn't have that fear about giving birth, because I knew that as I was going into it, that he was with me, and he for sure was with me. And so a lot of that fear was gone. And then it got even better when I had my restoration baby. Then it was like my fear was completely gone. And also what happened was with my first baby, with my girl, I was induced. And so I knew with my second one that I wanted natural. Like for me, that was, I just wanted natural birth. I wanted my water to break naturally. I just wanted everything to be natural. And, I'm so thankful to him because it happened exactly the way I had trusted him for. And everything happened naturally. And it was so much easier. And it was just such an amazing experience with him. So I'm really, really thankful.
Well, it all comes down to trust. And with trust, then it gets rid of fear, because those are imposing. Definitely. So if you're trusting, the fear is gone. And that's there is a book that you should share. It's called Supernatural Childbirth. And since finding that book, and I think I've talked to my husband many times, why didn't you tell me about this book? Why, why didn't I have this? I would have been a perfect candidate, though, sitting here waiting to prepare for this and just talking to my husband with coffee and asking him, what do you want me to discuss? And what do you want to share in this, this podcast? He reminded me about that, and I just think, coming back to, the supernatural childbirth and seeing that it's possible, but he reminded me that even though the labors were very long, they went days long for both my last 2, but the birth itself, it was pain-free, and it was supernaturally done. And it
Wow.
was like, wow, this is, because I know about having babies. Okay. I've done it,
Yes.
so I know what's
Quite a
normal
few
and I
times.
know what
Yeah.
is definitely not normal. And this was not normal because
Yeah.
they were just like slowly being pulled,
Mhm.
like somebody had their head and were slowly
Wow.
pulling the baby out. And it never stopped
Wow.
at the head or the neck, at the neck or the
Mhm.
shoulder. It just, and I had a huge baby. My sixth one was 11 pounds, 14 ounces. You can look
Wow.
that up and it's huge. It's like a
Yes.
3-month-old.
That's big.
And that baby born at home, just my husband was there and me. It was just like squeezing a tube of toothpaste. It was just slowly, it was uncanny. I'd never experienced, never heard of it. There was no pain whatsoever. It was just, there he was, and it happened again a second time, so it wasn't a fluke, it was prayer. It was right after my husband prayed, and so there you go. So the trust, getting rid of the fear, and I think that's what that whole supernatural childbirth is that you were designed for this, you were called for this. And anytime it's fear or there's something that intercepts and gets in the way of what's natural, like you said, I was induced. Well, that immediately starts a complication, and so, and there are complications, just like with my fourth, there was a complication in there. However, thankfully, having a doctor who knew how to just help nature along, but not to interfere, because he didn't at all. That is what's natural. Having a midwife taught me what birth was and how it was a natural process and how to go about it, and can just be the most beautiful thing. And you see that. But even for those who are so fearful of the pain and they want to go the totally different route, and I shared it in another podcast, I am my oldest son, his wife is brilliant, has 2 brilliant, gorgeous children, and she totally took the opposite route, where, I mean, she did go into labor, she didn't have an induced, but she had the epidural, didn't feel a thing, fell asleep during her labor. I couldn't fathom that to this day. And then I think, rather than being so fearful of the pain, go ahead, take that. I'm not, someone to say, oh, you can't do this, or you can't, just trust him. And if that's what happens, but not to, this whole life that could change everything. Just one, it could be a prophet or a preacher or just someone, it's just every child is, I absolutely 100% believe that this is a gift and it's a reward. And if it's a gift and it's a reward, then why would you not want that, but society and over the years has gotten very complex with birth control and all of that. It's just doing it prematurely and being afraid, because you certainly, if you're not married, if you're young, you're not ready to be a mother. And so, and then it comes with unplanned pregnancies, and then abortion comes in, and how that damages not just your body, but your spirit, your soul, your emotions, and either you're devastated and, it just is a terrible thing, or you're so hardened by it just to cope with that, because having had, loss of babies, if it was something that I had done, I can't imagine the suffering, and I have seen that, because being a pro-life speaker and counselor and things like that, so there's just so many things with it. Looking at the comments of it, it was talking about, having the blessing of having, I think Isabella talked about having the 4 daughters, and she has her 4 daughters are just beautiful. And the concerns that she had, or But and then Adina talked about the birth control and things like that, and being older, and these different things that happen, you know, even the preeclampsia, talking about that. I don't know why I talked about it with my sister, who's never had children. You know, she was never blessed with children, and it's very sad for her all the time, you know, and why I was blessed with a big family and she has not. I don't know. I don't I'm not God. I can't understand it. But even talking about preeclampsia, understanding that it's a lack of protein in the diet, which is what causes it. So it's not, you know, the doctors tend to treat the symptom rather than, you know, looking at the natural, you know, what's causing it and things like that, and studying it up on that. And so, but I think that it's not the responsibility of the doctors to know everything. You know, they're supposed to be trained just for the complications should that arise. You know, it's an emergency situation, but most births and pregnancies it's a natural process, and everybody who's come into the world has come in the same way. There's not been anything created outside of that. And just looking at you know, having had a farm and seeing the natural process of, you know, the animals and giving birth and them not suffering, you know, that's the other thing, you know, when you see them, they labor, they work, but there's no pain associated with it. But I believe really in the supernatural childbirth that he has redeemed us from that. And so we can give birth in that way with the work of it, but not the pain, because the pain has to do with the fear. And we know that even in a restoration journey, how you change, you can be so it can be so painful, but once you have his love, that's gone. And you're still on the same journey. However, through his love, through, you know, not having the fear anymore and being able to trust him, the pain goes away. And so it's very true, you know, with that. So I'll stop now and let you take over. I just want to tell you, it's been 28 minutes. So if you want to.
Okay. So I just wanted to quickly, like you were saying, a lot of women, when they have preeclampsia and a lot of these complications, a lot of doctors will then, you know, and I've heard so many of my friends speaking about it, where even my mom had a tubes tied. A lot of my friends speak about having hysterectomies. And so I love that you say that we can trust the Lord, you know, let trust him, you know, and allow him to bless your womb because it's like anything else. I mean, when I looked at my restoration journey, I looked at it in a sense of, okay, whether I'm going to be restored or whether or not, I'm going to trust him anyway. Whatever his plan is going to be the best plan. It's going to be better than any plan that I could ever think or dream or imagine. So yes, I just wanted to just mention that, because I hear it so much with my friends, and like I said, and also in my mom's case, and I actually want to go back and ask my mom about it, because she said that her tubes were tied, and I don't really know the medical, you know, how that works, but from what she said, she had my brother after her tubes were tied. And so I actually want to go back and ask my mom about it.
Well, there can be that it's not done correctly, because it depends on the time frame back at that time. I have a medical background, unfortunately, so I do know a little bit more than I would like to know. But, you know, back at the time, they were just tied. And so that if it's not, I know from, you know, doing oral surgery, because I was in dentistry and orthodontics, but you know, when you tie, if it's not tied correctly or it's not picked up, you know, things can happen. They went on to cut them and tie and cut them. So that's more and I think, can I just interject, why is it that the enemy doesn't want children to be born? Well, you have to look at why did God want to create? Why did he create mankind? It was for the fellowship. So what the enemy wants to do is rob, you know, and steal, because he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So he's going to come and to do everything in his power and use anyone, you know, to propagate the lies and everything that works to stop children from being born, certainly to rob families from the joy of having larger family, or even having families at all, which we're seeing them happen. Either it's by choice, or they've waited too long and they are not, because of having birth control, it messes up this perfect chemical balance, because we are fearfully and wonderfully made. However, if we have things that are trying to intercept that, and then it's going to get messed up. But with God, all things are possible. So those who are desiring for children, no matter what you've been told, it's not. I have prayed for more couples and women who want to have children, who have been told countless time, you will never have children. Then when they become pregnant, maybe they lose children, you won't be able to carry a child. Absolutely doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with anything. God can do it. And I watched that happen over and over again. So I was known for have, Dan and Erin pray for you, because, because he was a big proponent of, children too, wanting children. So, but I was just, nope, that's going to happen. And we just watched so many children, or just even not wanting children. I had nieces and nephews who would say, oh, Aunt Erin, I don't want to have children. I had that with my one niece who was married to a Navy SEAL, and I just happened to ask her, well, and she says, oh no, I think we're done. I said, well, what does your husband think about it? Well, he really wants to have more children. I'm like, come on now. And she knows about me and submission and things, because she's a believer. Her husband was not. Anyway, it's amazing too how speaking truth into one person, how you can instill that. One of my first was born at the same time, as the same age as this niece. She came on her honeymoon and she said, oh, and Erin, we're going to wait. And I said, why? We're going to wait to have children. Why? I mean, you love these children. Look how good you are with these children. Why are you waiting? Why? Well, because even my mom, and I thought, I'm going to get in trouble with my brothers and sisters, but I don't really care. And everybody was saying, oh, no, you don't.
Hi there, ladies. Please come and visit us at hopeatlast.com. Click on blog, where we share daily praise reports, ministry information, lessons, and ministry resources. You can sign up to receive our daily newsletter. You can click on free courses for our free marriage courses. And you can click on our give button, which will take you to PayPal, where you can donate and give and sow into the fertile soil of restoring marriages.